All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're talking about something that drives everyone crazy, putting out the same fires over and over again. We're going to talk about how to stop just slapping a patch on things and actually find the real problem so you can solve it for good.
So, let me ask you, does this sound familiar? You're stuck in this loop, right? Tackling the exact same frustration you swore you fixed last month, maybe even last week. It is just exhausting. Well, today, we're going to show you how to get off that hamster wheel for good. It's all about stopping the symptom treatment and finally finding a permanent cure.
Okay, so first things first. Before we can solve anything, you've got to know exactly what you're dealing with. And there's a really critical distinction we need to make here. See, there's an incident, and then there's a problem. An incident? That's a one-off. Your computer freezes, you reboot it, you get back to work. Done. But a problem is when that same machine crashes every single Monday morning. One is just a hiccup you react to, the other is a pattern, and that pattern demands an investigation. So here's our new rule of thumb. If it happens once, react. If it keeps happening, we investigate.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll start with a universal problem-solving cycle that you can use for pretty much anything. Then we'll get into the detective work, diagnosing the root cause. After that, we'll talk about how to pick the right solution, not just any solution. And finally, the most important part, how to make that solution actually stick.
Let's dive right in.
This all starts with a simple but incredibly powerful framework. Think of it as your master key for taking action on any challenge you face. And that framework is the PDCA cycle. Plan, do, check, act. It's a continuous loop, not a straight line. First, you plan. This is where you really dig in, analyze the issue, and brainstorm potential fixes. Then you do. But, and this is key, you don't just roll out a massive change. You implement a small-scale test of your best idea. Next, you check. You measure the results. Did it work? Did it make things better, worse, or have no effect at all? And finally, you act. If your test was a success, fantastic. You standardize it, make it the new way of doing things. If it didn't work, no big deal. You take what you learned and you start the cycle all over again. It's all about constant learning and improvement.
Okay, so let's zoom in on that first absolutely crucial step, the plan phase. This is where we put on our detective hats. We stop guessing and we start digging for the real culprit.
Now, to make this stuff feel real, let's work through a super common business headache. You've probably lived this one. Why are our customer deliveries always late? We're going to use this as our running example to see how these tools work in the wild.
Our first tool is called the 5 whys, and it's so simple, it's brilliant. You just keep asking, why? Like a curious kid to peel back the layers of the problem. So let's try it. Why are deliveries late? Well, because production finished late. Okay, why was production late? Because we were waiting on raw materials. And why were the materials late? Because the order was placed too late. We're getting warmer. Why was the order placed so late? Because we didn't realize we were out of stock until it was too late. And for the final reveal, why did we run out of stock? Boom, because the inventory alert system failed. See what happened there? We started with a shipping problem and ended up with a broken software alert. That is the root cause we need to fix.
Now, the 5 whys is amazing for drilling down on a single cause. But what if the problem is more complex? What if there are multiple things going wrong at once? That's where our next tool comes in. It's called an Ishikawa or fishbone diagram and helps us map out all the potential causes to get the full picture.
So here's how it works. The head of our fish is the problem itself, those late deliveries, and the bones are these different categories of potential causes, often called the 6 M's. You get your team together and you just brainstorm everything you can think of for each one. Could it be a method issue, like our planning process is a mess? Or maybe it's manpower. We're short-staffed or people need more training. What about materials or the machines themselves? You even look at the environment and how you measure things. This visual map basically forces you to look at the problem from every possible angle, so no stone is left unturned. All right, the detective work is done. Our fishbone diagram is filled with clues, so now we jump back to our PDCA cycle and move into the do phase. It's time to stop just planning and actually start doing something about it.
But wait a second. After that brainstorming session, you might have a dozen, maybe even 24 potential solutions. So where do you start? You can't just do everything at once, And you definitely don't want to just pick the idea from the person who shouts the loudest. We need a smart, objective way to prioritize our actions.
And this is where the effort impact matrix becomes your best friend. It's so simple. For every single solution idea you have, you ask 2 questions. How much effort will this take, and how much impact will it have? What you're really hunting for are the quick wins, the things in that beautiful top left corner that are high impact but low effort. Looking at our delivery problem, fixing that ERP alert system, that's a perfect quick win. It's low effort, and it directly tackles the root cause we found. Now, hiring more staff, that's a huge project. And blaming traffic? Yeah, that's low effort, but it's also low impact. We can safely ignore that one for now.
Okay, so we've picked our quick win, we've implemented the fix, but we're not done yet, not even close. This brings us to the final, and I'd argue the most important phases of the cycle: check and act. This is how we make sure the fix actually worked, and more importantly, how we make sure this problem never, ever comes back.
The key idea here is that you have to capitalize on what you've learned. As one source puts it, you have to document what you did and what worked so you don't have to start from scratch if the problem ever shows up again. This means updating your procedures, maybe creating new checklists, or improving your training. You are literally building the solution into your system. You're creating organizational memory, so the lesson is learned once for everybody for good.
And a fantastic tool for this is the After Action Review, or AAR. It's a really simple, and this is critical, a blameless debrief. No finger pointing. It's just 4 simple questions. What did we expect to happen? What actually happened? Why was there a difference? And what did we learn from it? By doing this, you turn every attempt, whether it was a home run or a total flop, into a powerful lesson for the whole team.
And when you put all of this structured work together, what's the payoff? It's the transformation you can see right here. Before, you're living in chaos, constantly fighting the same fires. And afterward, the number of recurring problems just plummets. You've made the leap from just being reactive to being proactive. It's a total game changer.
So there you have it. You now have the framework: plan, do, check, act. And you've got the tools you need to stop just treating symptoms and start solving problems at the very root. So the only real question left is, what's that frustrating, recurring problem that you are going to solve first?